All right, old school NBA fans, self-researched NBA facts. Got another video for you. As always, thanks to anybody who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel. I really appreciate it. My comment of the day comes from India Gangway. This is in response to when I said I get called a LeBron hater all the time. It is what it is kind of thing. He says, call me a LeBron hater. Yes, please. In fact, I'll hold it for all you guys who are anti-LeBron. Yes, I hate this clown, everything about him, and his fans. Now, I will say this. It has definitely been hard to be a LeBron James fan based on stuff that he has said, his actions on the court, not just off the court. I always try to separate the two. But even on the court, his antics are very hard to take. No doubt about it. Then you have the media fools to pump this guy up. He does no wrong. Anything he does, even if it's ordinary, it's the best thing going. I hear it all the time with these guys. And there was a time where I was a fan of LeBron James, but that all changed. Right after the decision was obviously phase one, all the PED allegations, the joining of Miami, the joining of Cleveland, all the stuff they pulled in LA to steal Anthony Davis from the Pelicans, the check my stat comments, all that kind of stuff makes it very hard to like this guy. Now, if you're a young, new school fan, you probably love this stuff. You love the arrogance. But I come from an era of humility where the players didn't brag. They weren't so braggadocio like they are now. It just was never commonplace at all. You'd have your occasional Deion Sanders and guys like that. But for the most part, there ain't nobody saying they're the GOAT unless they were a rapper or they were a boxer. That's just how it was. So anyway, segueing into what this video is about, this is the criteria when I rank players that carries the most weight. Now, everybody has the right to rank players how they want. I know it's hard to keep biases out of it, but I told myself that I was not going to show any bias towards any player at all. And this is one, by keeping it consistent, how can you argue against it? This is, in fact, a huge reason why I do not have LeBron James in my top 10. Now, that's just happened to be where he fell. If he would have fell at number 7 or 8, I would have lived with it. And of course, this is just one criteria. And I have a criteria of people that colluded to dilute their own conference and make their own team ridiculous. I didn't punish people that were old at the end of their career in their mid-30s and stuff like that. No, not at all. But players in their prime that went and did this stuff, absolutely, they should be punished for it. So how a player did when they had a legitimate shot at a championship, for me, two things make it a legitimate shot at a championship. Either you were the number 1 seed, so you had home court advantage throughout the conference playoffs. You being an all-time great, that's a big advantage. Now, if you reached the finals, how is that not a legitimate shot at a championship? You're in the finals. So either one of those things, or both in some cases, whatever, that is a legitimate shot at a title. I didn't even call if you were a number 2 seed as a legitimate shot because there was a better team in your conference. I did it for everybody. And I didn't care how many times you reached the final. Some people get hung up on how many finals appearances you made. That's all fine and good, but you being an all-time great, you need to start winning championships, period. If you want to be considered an all-time great. You can overlook this stuff, no problem. You do whatever you want. Come up with any criteria that suits whatever player you want. But here's my top 25 as it stands right now. Now, I have made a couple small adjustments, but I'm not quite done with it yet. Probably next week, I will show the new one. People have been asking me about it, so I'm going to do it. All right, number 25, Elgin Baylor. Now, this guy is an amazing player. He was an amazing scorer. The best player in NBA history, bar none, to never win an MVP and never win a championship. It's Elgin Baylor. It's not even close. Elgin Baylor all day long. There is no close second. Elgin Baylor was in the finals 7 times. Now, he was also the number 1 seed, but being in the finals trumps being a number one seed. But anyway, 7 times in the finals, 0 championships, 0 for 7. That's obviously a bad thing. Why he wouldn't be up farther. Now, if he would have been 3 out of 7, Elgin Baylor's in the top 12 most likely, flirting with top 10 because his numbers are that good. What's he got, like 10-time first-team All-NBA? Giannis Antetokounmpo, twice he was the number 1 seed, and actually even a 3rd time, but I didn't count 2023 because he didn't play much. He also had the trip to the finals, obviously in 2021, where he did win a championship. So that's 1 out of 3. He cashed in. Nikola Jokic was the 1 seed once, but it happened to be the year he was in the finals. 1 for Jokic. That's excellent. Kevin Durant, he was the number 1 seed once, in the finals 3 times. So he won 2 championships. He's 2 out of 4. Now, obviously, he was the number 1 seed more than that, but I am including that in finals trips. David Robinson, much like Durant, he was the number 1 seed twice, where he did not win the championship. And that was in 1995, when the Houston beat him, and 2001. So that was 2 times he didn't win it, but both times he was in the finals in 99 and 03, he did win it. 2 for 4 for Robinson. But he wasn't the best player, and that is my newest criteria that I'm adding that has kind of shaken things up a little bit. Bob Pettit, number 1 seed once when he didn't reach the finals, 4 times in the finals, 1 championship. So he's 1 out of 5. Not great. His individual accolades are through the roof, but at the end of the day, he's got 1 championship. But he did beat Boston. Kevin Garnett, number 1 seed 1 time without reaching the finals. I believe that was in 04, 03 or 04. I can't remember. I thought it was 04. Twice in the finals, 08 and 2010. He won 1 championship, 1 out of 3. Karl Malone reached the finals twice, lost them both, 0 for 2. George Mikan, the number 1 seed in 1951 and did not even reach the finals, but the other 5 times he won the championship. He's 5 out of 6, which is incredible. Oscar Robertson, number 1 seed, I believe that was in 1973. 2 trips to the finals, 1 total championship, 1 out of 3. Moses Malone, twice in the finals, 1 championship, 1 out of 2. And 1 out of 2 is fine. 50%, there is nothing wrong with 50% at all. Steph Curry, 6 times in the finals, 4 championships, 4 out of 6. Jerry West, number 1 seed once where he didn't reach the finals, 8 times in the finals, 1 championship. That's 1 for 9. Dr. J, number 1 seed 1 time when he didn't make it to the finals. He was in the finals 6 times. I included his ABA stuff. 3 championships, 3 for 7. LeBron James, number 1 seed twice. In the finals 10 times. 4 championships. So by my calculation, that's 4 out of 12. That's 1/3 of the time. Shaquille O'Neal, 6 times in the finals, 4 championships, 4 for 6. Tim Duncan, 4 times the number 1 seed, did not reach the finals. 6 times in the finals, 5 championships. That's a 5 out of 10. 50%, that's fine. I can't just count rings. I got to count opportunities to win rings. So Duncan is 50%. But again, this is only one criteria, but it just happens to be the one that carries the most weight for me. Hakeem Olajuwon, never the number 1 seed, which is kind of incredible. In the finals 3 times, 2 championships. So he's 2 out of 3. Wilt Chamberlain, twice the number 1 seed without reaching the finals. I believe that was in 1966 and 68. 6 times in the finals, 2 championships. He's only 2 out of 8. A reason that's always going to keep Wilt Chamberlain out of my top 5. Larry Bird, the number 1 seed twice and didn't reach the finals. 5 times in the finals, won 3 championships. 3 out of 7, which is meh. He's under 50%. Kobe Bryant, never the number 1 seed without reaching the finals. Made the finals 7 times, won 5 championships. 5 out of 7. But the newest criteria of how many championships did you win as the undisputed, undoubted best player on your team? Something I'm going to look at. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the number 1 seed 3 times without reaching the finals. I believe that was 1973, 1977, and 1986. 10 times in the finals, 6 championships, 6 out of 13, just under 50%. Same thing for Magic. Twice the number 1 seed did not make the finals. That would have been in 86 and 1990. 9 times in the finals, won 5 championships, so 5 out of 11, just under 50% for him. Bill Russell, never the number 1 seed without reaching the finals. He was in the finals 12 times, won 11 championships, 11 out of 12. That's ridiculous. Michael Jordan, never the number 1 seed without reaching the finals, 6 trips to the finals, 6 championships, 100%. What do you want me to say? So I broke it down by who did the best in this criteria. Starting at the back, Elgin Baylor was 0 for 7, he's 0%. Karl Malone 0 for 2, also 0%, but he blew less chances, so Malone would be a little bit ahead of Baylor on that. Jerry West, 1 out of 9 is at 11.11%. Bob Pettit, 1 out of 5 at 20%. Wilt Chamberlain, 2 out of 8, 25%. And then you have 4 guys at 1/3. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kevin Garnett, Oscar Robertson, all 1 for 3. And then LeBron James, 4 for 12. So you can call me crazy, you can call me whatever you want. But in my mind, LeBron James had the same success rate as Kevin Garnett, Oscar Robertson, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, 1/3. Dr. J, 3 out of 7, 42.85%. Exact same for Larry Bird, 3 out of 7, 42.85%. Magic Johnson, 5 out of 11, 45.45%. Kareem, 6 out of 13, 46.15%. Moses Malone, he had 2 cracks at it. He won 1, 50%. Same with Kevin Durant and David Robinson. They were both 2 for 4. Tim Duncan, 5 for 10. Now, I know a lot of people love Duncan because of his all defenses and his 5 rings. I get it. But people don't want to talk about the negatives. They only want to see the positive when they really like a player. And most of the time, it's a guy they grew up watching. Somebody's probably in their early 40s. They love Tim Duncan. They love Dirk Nowitzki. They love Kobe Bryant. They love Shaq. But looking at it objectively, Tim Duncan had some blown chances. San Antonio had a chance to be like Boston in the 60s. I understand that's an unrealistic standard, but I'm just saying, they had 10 chances. Kareem had 13. Of course, Kareem won 1 more, but a lower percentage. Hakeem Olajuwon, he had 3 cracks at it. He won 2. So he's got 2 out of 3. Steph Curry and Shaq, 4 out of 6. So in my mind, Olajuwon had the same success rate as Steph Curry, even with Kevin Durant on his team, and Shaq with Kobe and Dwayne Wade on his team. He had the same success rate. Kobe Bryant, 5 out of 7, 71.46%. But again, I understand not all as the best player, and that will be taken into account to be continued. George Mikan, 5 out of 6, 83.33%. Excellent. Bill Russell, 11 out of 12, 91.66. And even Nikola Jokic, you got to give him credit. He had 1 legitimate shot at it. He was the number 1 seed. Now, if they would have got beat, he'd be 0 for 1 right now. But he cashed it in. Now, it was an easy run. No doubt about it. I don't care what individual players he beat. Oh, he beat LeBron, KD. I don't care. At the end of the day, he did not beat a team that won over what, like 45 games or something? I mean, Miami was the 8th seed. Phoenix was a joke. The Lakers won 43 games. Yeah, they were better after they made that trade for D'Angelo Russell and all that, sure. Now, I do hold it against Jokic getting upset. Not last year against OKC. No, nothing wrong with that. The year before, though, when they were playing Minnesota and they had a 20-some point lead in the 3rd quarter in Game 7 and they were the higher seed at home, absolutely, that's a black mark. And then you're left with Michael Jordan. 6 chances, 6 championships. And sure, you could include Scottie Pippen. You could say, hey, he was 6 for 6 too. That's true. But I don't consider Scottie Pippen a top 25 player. Not even top 35. He would be in the next batch of players, though, probably somewhere between 36 and 45, somewhere in there, I would think. So these are exactly LeBron James' legitimate shots at a championship. Now, in his early years, 2004, 5, 6, no. Those early years, he did not have any kind of shot at championship. No, he didn't. But 2007, he made it to the finals. You're an all-time great, right? How is that not a legitimate shot at a championship? You can say they were outmatched. San Antonio was a season and championship level team. All that's fine. But you still made it to the finals and you got beat. Period. I'm not going case by case on every single player to take into consideration injuries, who was a better team, who had more championship experience. Nope, you had a chance and you lost. 2009, they had the best record in the NBA, 66 wins. Of course, he didn't have a top 75 player on his team, so that's the excuse for that one. 2010, number 1 seed, best record in the NBA. Still, there's going to be excuses made for that. So he had 3 legitimate shots at a championship on his first stint in Cleveland. Just because you couldn't close the deal, you couldn't beat Orlando in Orlando, whatever, dude. And then 2011 to 2018, he made it to the finals all 8 seasons. He won 3 championships in that span. So he was 3 for 11 after 2018. And then in 2020, I'm giving him full credit for the bubble. A lot of people either discount it or call it a half ring. I'm giving him full credit for it. 4 out of 12. 33.33%. You can say whatever you want, but that is worse than a lot of players. You can have any opinion you want about that. That's fine. But just know, out of my top 25 players, 16 had a higher championship success rate when having a legitimate shot at a championship. He was tied with 3 other players, Giannis, Kevin Garnett, and Oscar Robertson. And there's 5 players behind him. That's just how it is. What do you want me to say? My position is very simple. If you are an all-time great, people call you an all-time great, then you being a number 1 seed with home court advantage, you should make the finals. You should. And if you don't, that's fine, but it will be a black mark against you. And it should be. If you're in the finals, that should be a legitimate shot at a championship, no matter who you're playing. Anything can happen in the finals. And maybe I'm in the minority by saying this, but the Chicago Bulls were not the favorite in every finals. They did not have home court advantage in every finals. They were not favored to beat the Lakers. I remember Marv Albert saying that, say, oh yeah, the Lakers are the favorite here, no question, because of the championship experience. Phoenix had home court advantage in 1993. Utah had home court advantage in 1998. But the Bulls did what they had to do, found a way, and won all 6 times that Michael Jordan was a number 1 seed and or reached the finals. Period. End of story. You love LeBron James and you want to say he was just in over his head in those finals, that's fine. But I don't know how many times in NBA history a team swept the number 1 seed in your conference and then got beat in the finals or even swept in the finals. 2018 sticks out like a sore thumb. Toronto was the number 1 seed in the East. Cleveland swept them, and then they got swept in the finals. So obviously something is not right there at all. Either the competition in the East was so inferior that making LeBron's trips to the finals not really that big of a deal. The Lakers in the mid-'80s had some weak competition to get to the finals, no question about it. But they won more than they lost. And they had much tougher competition than LeBron James did. Don't talk to me about the Spurs and the Warriors. They were playing the 89 Pistons, the 88 Pistons, Boston in 84, 85, 87, the 83 76ers, the 1980 and 82 76ers, the 91 Bulls. Not exactly the 2020 Miami Heat, are they? So anyway, that's all I got for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, please hit the like button. If you wouldn't mind sharing it, that would be great. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. I give daily content, and that's it. Until next time.